Have you ever peered at a city's skyline and wondered about the unseen forces that truly shape it? Or considered the individuals who wield immense power, maybe without ever being elected, quietly reshaping public life?
Yeah, the people behind the curtain, so to speak.
Exactly. Today we're going to dive deep into a book that pulls back that very curtain, showing us that, well, the cost of progress can be steep and often hidden.
That's right. We're talking about Robert Caro's groundbreaking work, The Power Broker. It came out in 1974, a truly monumental book.
Monumental is the word.
It meticulously chronicles the rise, the sheer dominance, and the eventual decline of Robert Moses, New York's so-called unelected master builder.
And it landed at such a critical moment, didn't it? The mid-'70s, post-Watergate.
Oh, definitely.
There was this real growing skepticism about political power.
Right.
Caro's book tapped right into that urgent need to understand how someone without an electoral mandate could just profoundly shape public life.
And all set against this dramatic backdrop of mid-20th century New York during its massive urban transformation. It was a huge period of change.
Yeah, a city in flux.
Precisely. And just so you know, for this unique analysis, you are experiencing a two-host AI conversation. It's powered by Google's NotebookLM.
Which is pretty cool, actually.
It is. It's not just a gimmick. It's a tool that helps us synthesize, huge amounts of source material. It lets us get deeper, have a more dynamic analysis than maybe traditional methods allow.
Bringing you the most important nuggets of knowledge from this really complex text.
Exactly.
So our mission today is to unpack how Caro, through just meticulous research and masterful storytelling, revealed the hidden workings of power. How it's acquired, how it's maintained, how it's wielded.
And the costs. The profound costs it imposed on individuals, on whole communities.
Yeah. We want to try and demystify some of the mechanics of urban development and maybe expose the dangers of unchecked political authority.
Leaving you, hopefully, better informed and with some crucial insights into democratic governance. Because these themes, they're still relevant.
So relevant. Okay, let's start with the man himself, Robert Moses.
Right. The focus of the book, as Caro famously dubbed him, New York's unelected master builder.
That phrase just sticks with you.
It really does.
Yeah.
And what's so compelling about Caro's approach is how he frames Moses as like the living embodiment of these core themes that resonate far beyond just New York City.
What kind of themes are we talking about?
Well, the very nature of power itself, right?
Sure.
How it works. Then there's the subtle, insidious creep of corruption. The constant tension between what's claimed as the public interest and just raw individual ambition.
Yeah.
Questions of social justice, often overlooked.
Yeah.
And that really profound, often tragic interplay between progress, in quotes, and its actual human cost.
It's just astounding when you think about the sheer scale of Caro's commitment. Getting this story.
Oh, it's incredible.
He spent over 7 years of his life on this book. Conducted more than 500 interviews to really unravel Moses's incredibly intricate narrative.
That level of dedication, it's not just impressive on paper. You feel it on every page. It gives the work this almost like forensic authority.
You really feel the depth of that investigation.
You do. And that dedication, it speaks volumes about who this book is for.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, it's a must-read for, policymakers, urban planners, historians, journalists.
The
specialists, yeah. But Caro's writing, while incredibly detailed, is also really accessible. It makes it valuable for anyone just interested in civic life.
Even though it's, over 1,300 pages? It's a doorstop.
It is a doorstop.
Yeah.
But it's not just for academics. It's a profound civic lesson, really, for everyone.
Okay, so when you're making these kinds of huge claims about a major historical figure, building trust with your reader is just paramount. How does Caro, right from the start, establish that credibility, that ethos? How does he make his narrative so convincing?
It really comes down to an almost obsessive rigor.
Yeah.
Caro's credibility, his ethos, it's built on just exhaustive research.
Those 7 years, the 500 interviews.
Exactly. And it wasn't just about collecting facts. He got insights from both sides. Ardent insiders who admired Moses, maybe worked for him.
Right.
And his most outspoken critics, people whose lives were turned upside down.
So he talked to former aides, maybe people who saw Moses's early idealism?
Yes, and then he juxtaposes that with these really scathing accounts from community activists whose neighborhoods were just flattened by Moses's projects.
That comprehensive approach, hearing both sides, that builds trust, doesn't it?
It's crucial. It shows Caro isn't just pushing an agenda or presenting a biased view.
So he's not just spinning a tale or throwing opinions around. He's basically showing you the receipts.
Exactly, showing you the receipts. And a key part of that is his intellectual honesty. He's willing to acknowledge Moses' intelligence, his drive, even his early genuine achievements.
Like the state park's work in the 20s.
Yeah, exactly. His role in expanding state parks, he gives him credit for that, even while he's systematically exposing the later abuses of power.
That balance is key. It makes the critique stronger somehow.
It builds immense trust.
Yeah.
He doesn't just tell you things. He backs up every single claim with concrete evidence, official documents, legislative records, internal memos.
The hard stuff.
The hard stuff. Direct proof of Moses's behind-the-scenes maneuvering, his bureaucratic genius, you could call it. That really granular detail pulled straight from the archives, it just heightens the book's authority immensely.
That deep dive into the archives, those hundreds of interviews, it makes his critique feel so incredibly grounded, real.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just a dry historical account, is it? Caro is an absolute master at making you feel the consequences, the human impact.
Oh, absolutely. This is where the pathos, the emotional appeal comes in so powerfully.
How does he do that? How does he reveal that human toll?
He evokes this profound sympathy for the displaced residents. He zeroes in, sometimes with excruciating detail, on communities just shattered by Moses's bulldozers and highways.
So not just statistics about demolished homes.
No. He gives you vivid, gut-wrenching accounts of specific neighborhoods, like East Tremont and the Bronx, a vibrant, close-knit community before the Cross-Bronx Expressway just sliced right through it.
I remember reading that part. Devastating.
He describes how entire blocks of homes were just razed, families scattered, social fabric torn apart, often with barely any warning or fair compensation.
That personalization, it makes the abstract cost of urban renewal feel incredibly real and tragic.
Exactly. When you read about, say, Jane Jacobs fighting tooth and nail for her neighborhood, or just the countless anonymous families whose homes, schools, churches were just wiped away for a highway.
You can't help but feel that anguish, that loss. It's almost impossible to stay detached.
That's his genius. Caro's prose, while it's rigorously journalistic, fact-driven, it's never dry, never academic in that sense.
Right.
He meticulously highlights the anguish, the loss, the betrayal of public trust, the slow erosion of democratic norms. He does it with such clarity that it often provokes this genuine sense of outrage.
Outrage at the injustices done in the name of progress.
Precisely. It forces you, the reader, to confront the devastating human cost behind those, admittedly impressive bridges and expressways.
Okay, so if the pathos makes you feel it, then the logos, the logical progression, helps you understand the how and the why. How did Moses get so powerful? How does Caro structure this massive story to make that rise and fall so clear, almost inescapable?
Well, the structure itself is a really powerful logical appeal. It's like a masterclass in showing cause and effect.
Right.
Caro meticulously guides you through Moses' entire trajectory. From his early days, seemingly idealistic campaigning for public good.
Right, the reformer.
A reformer. Then to his absolute unchecked power at his peak, mid-century. And then finally to his eventual decline when his authority was finally challenged and checked by public outcry and shifting politics.
And it's not just a simple timeline, is it? He's weaving together all this complex evidence, making connections maybe people didn't see at the time.
Exactly. He organizes the evidence both chronologically and thematically. He leads you through decades of changing policies, these intricate alliances he built, and, frankly, some shocking betrayals.
And the documentation.
Oh, the level of detailed documentation is key to the logos. He presents maps showing the exact paths of these destructive highways, financial records revealing hidden funding streams, policy memos exposing Moses' cynical strategies.
Like the highways versus subways thing.
That's one of the most damning examples, yeah. Meticulously detailed through documents. His notorious preference for highways over subways. Caro shows this wasn't just like an urban planning choice.
It was more than that.
Much more. It was a deliberate strategy that effectively segregated the city. It cemented advantages for car-owning, often white, suburbanites, while intentionally isolating and disadvantaging poor, often minority urban communities who needed public transit.
Wow. So infrastructure itself becomes a tool of social engineering.
And exclusion.
Yeah.
The insight there is just chilling. Seemingly neutral things like roads and bridges can carry enormous social weight.
As we sort of unravel these complex patterns of power and their profound implications, it really brings to mind Mindful Moments. That's our YouTube channel offering AI book analysis. It's great for inspiring reflection and, rational thought when you're grappling with demanding information like this.
Good point. It connects well. So let's get back to Caro's writing itself. How does he actually put all this together? His rhetorical toolkit, so to speak.
Yeah, let's talk style.
Well, his language and style are incredibly precise, but also vivid. He often makes bureaucracies and institutions feel like these looming, almost predatory forces. They have their own impersonal logic.
So he doesn't just say Moses used bureaucracy.
No, he paints a picture of Moses mastering the bureaucratic labyrinth, bending it to his will. It feels active, not passive.
And his sentences? I noticed that. He shifts from these really long, detailed passages you get immersed in, like a legislative battle or a land deal.
It's deep dives.
And then, boom, a short, punchy line that emphasizes some key revelation or a shocking fact.
It keeps you engaged, draws you in, then hits you with the truth. And he uses occasional but really powerful metaphors, likening Moses to a chess master maybe, or an emperor.
Right, which instantly clarifies the scale of his influence.
Exactly. And his structural strategies are just as impressive. It's mainly chronological, sure, but it's punctuated by these incredibly insightful thematic deep dives into key projects.
So you get the big picture of his career.
But then he zeroes in on specific case studies, building the Triborough Bridge, say, or the public housing projects. It shows how Moses applied his power in different contexts.
Giving you both breadth and intense detail, zooming in and out.
Precisely. And he uses juxtaposition masterfully.
I like contrasting the beautiful parks he built.
Fields Beach, marvel for certain groups.
With the, quote, smog-choked aridity, or the concrete canyons that resulted from other Moses projects.
It starkly highlights that balance or imbalance between undeniable progress for some and undeniable destruction for others.
He also uses techniques like rhetorical questions, doesn't he?
He does, subtly inviting readers to ponder these complex moral dilemmas. Like, does the end truly justify the means, or who really pays the price for public works and who benefits?
It's not lecturing, it's prompting thought.
Exactly, fostering critical thinking. And that recurring irony, he highlights that Moses, the guy who started as a zealous reformer fighting corrupt politicians,
ends up becoming just as imperious and unaccountable himself.
Yeah, as bad as the figures he initially fought. It's a powerful narrative device. It really amplifies the tragedy and the complexity of his legacy.
So what does this all mean for us today? Why are we still talking about this nearly 50-year-old book about a New York planner? What's the enduring legacy here?
Well, Caro's central goal to reveal the intricate mechanics and the far-reaching consequences of accumulated power is just stunningly achieved.
Yeah.
You finish the book with this lasting, frankly unsettling grasp of how unelected authority, when it operates without sufficient checks, can not only remap cities and reprogram lives, but can also consistently outmaneuver democratic controls.
And that feels incredibly relevant now.
Undeniably. It draws clear, even chilling parallels to today's debates on infrastructure, urban development, bureaucratic power, the democratic process itself. Really, in any city, anywhere in the world.
And I appreciate that Caro doesn't just paint Moses as a simple villain. It's more nuanced than that, right?
Oh, absolutely. He avoids outright demonizing or lionizing him. It's a remarkably nuanced and ethical approach, especially for a book with this kind of critical weight.
How does he manage that balance?
He weighs Moses' undeniable achievements, the parks, the highways, the public facilities that still shape New York today, against his failures and abuses with this profound sense of fairness. He always foregrounds the evidence. He meticulously invites readers to judge for themselves.
And he brings in other voices, too.
Crucially, he explores not just Moses' perspective, but also those of the politicians he outsmarted, the citizens whose lives he impacted, the critics who tried to stop him. It gives the book immense breadth and complexity.
So it acknowledges that messy reality, that ambiguous legacy of progress.
Exactly. Where modern New York's vibrancy and, its functionality undeniably coexist with these deep scars left by unchecked ambition and the displacement of countless communities.
It really is a monumental work. The Power Broker stands as this unparalleled study in the rhetoric of power.
A monumental and cautionary exploration of American ambition's bright and dark sides.
Yeah. And a vital reminder, I think, of the importance of vigilance, of robust oversight, and just genuinely engaged democracy in any era.
Absolutely. And for more insightful analyses like this, and to maybe further your reflection on demanding information, remember to check out Mindful Moments on YouTube and explore our podcasts for a wider range of deep dives.
Definitely. And for this deep dive into Robert Moses and the powerful lessons from the Power Broker, we really urge you. Click the link on screen for the summary, Subscribe to our work for more insightful analyses like this one. Share this deep dive with someone who you think needs to hear it.
Consider purchasing the book via the link to experience it firsthand. It's worth the effort.
It really is. And most importantly, keep thinking critically about the forces that shape your world.
Because in an increasingly complex world, maybe the biggest question is, how do we ensure that the builders of tomorrow truly serve the public, not just their own power?